Marhaba معكم Fadi, your Arab dating and relationship coach and the founder of ArabDatingCoach.com. Today we will talk about why sometimes you need to walk away. Now, the reasons for walking away are plenty, but the main three that I would like to mention here is if you are in a toxic relationship, if you are in a manipulative relationship, or if you're simply being disrespected. Now, the advice that I'm giving here today is for the early stages of a relationship. You just met someone, you're trying to get to know them, and you're noticing things about the interaction that you're having with them. My advice today is not for necessarily people that are married with kids. However, even in those situations where you are in a committed relationship, long-term relationship with kids, you will walk away, but in certain situations from toxic arguments, toxic scenarios, but still be devoted obviously to your kids and family. So I want to talk to you about some cases where walking away would be the only solution or would be the best thing that you could do. For example, let's say you're starting a relationship and you spent a few months or some time with this person. Then this woman is either disrespecting you, or you're in a toxic relationship, or you feel that it's at the expense of your dignity being with her. Now, what could have gone wrong here? Most likely you have not set your boundaries and your expectations from the beginning. It was not clear, or you did not stop it from the beginning. And therefore, that person is testing you a little bit at a time. People in general test you, not just women, in any relationship, in any type of situation. And they will always test you a little bit further every time. They will not stop until they see how far they can go. Now, if you did not clearly set your boundaries and what are your expectations in the relationship, they might continue pushing that boundary. So they do it either consciously or subconsciously, but it's a test nonetheless. At the beginning of a relationship, if you set your boundaries early on, it's much easier than way later in the relationship, let's say a few months or whatever into the relationship, because now it's very difficult to recondition that person on how they viewed you. So now they viewed you already as a person who is willing to do X, Y, and Z because their boundaries is this far. But now if you decided all of a sudden a few months into the relationship that, no, I'm not going to accept this anymore, I want to speak up, it will be much more difficult to ask of that person to change their behavior towards you. And in that case, it might be the best thing to do to simply walk away. They might come back once they realize their mistake or what they have done, but I would not count on it all the time. When you walk away from a toxic relationship or a manipulative relationship, you will feel a sense of control and gratification. You will feel that things are restored, you're balanced again. And this is coming from experience. And especially if you're in a manipulative relationship, because if you're in a manipulative relationship and you're allowing this to happen, you're losing your control over yourself, over what you can do in a relationship, and you're giving so much power to that other person. And if you're in a toxic relationship, also this is not good, because the more you spend time in that toxic relationship, the more you start believing that the downfall or the things that are not working for you is because of your faults and not the other person's. Now, of course, both people can have faults and things to work on, but if it's a toxic person to be with, you might start believing that the things that they made you believe about yourself, that they are your downfalls, when they're not, you might start believing them the more time you spend with that person. And that's why sometimes you need to walk away from a toxic relationship. Now, you might ask yourself, how would I know if I'm in a toxic relationship or not? I get asked this question a lot, and the best way to think about it is that ask yourself, is the person you're with is a source of power, stability, and causing you to grow with them or better yourself every day? Or are they simply anchoring you to who you are at the moment? Or even worse, dragging you a few steps back and causing you to exhibit bad behavior or become your worst self? So if that's the case, then I'm sure you've already answered the question. You know in your head, thinking about that person, if they are a source of power and stability and love, or they're simply bad for you. They bring the worst out of you. Now, finally, I have to repeat myself and say that before you decide to walk away, you need to ask yourself if you can work on the relationship and improve it, or even improve yourself and work on yourself to better things between you and your partner. And that would be ultimately, of course, the best solution. But sometimes, as I mentioned, you simply cannot deal with the amount of time and effort to fix things. It might be better for you to simply just walk away. Now, of course, it's much easier to do with a relationship that is just starting, or a woman that is not 100% there, attracted to you. She's on the fence. She doesn't know if she's there 100% with you or not. And walking away might be the best thing to attract her. So I hope this advice helps you in your dating and relationship. And if you have any ideas or things to add to the conversation, please write them in the comment section below. I hope to see you on the next one, and best of luck with your dating and relationships.